we always look forward to getting to a new park and getting a brand new roller coaster that we never rode before. But unfortunately, there are some coasters in this world that we will never get to ride. That's right, those coasters are now defunct and no longer with us. So what we did is we created a top 10 list of the coasters that we would have loved to have ridden.
But we sadly never got the chance to, that don't exist anymore.
So these are the top 10 bucket list defunct roller coasters in the world. Let's start with number 10. Number 10, we kind of rode, but we rode a different incarnation of it.
Yeah, this is Steel Phantom at Kennywood. Now, this was a very interesting, it was an arrow looper, which aren't good, but this one is definitely an interesting one, 85 miles an hour with inversions, which sounds absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that's
so.
Yeah, and now it turned into one of your favorite coasters.
Oh yeah, Phantom's Revenge for sure. Yeah. So it's definitely better now, I would assume. But riding Steel Phantom, just the idea of going 85 miles an hour with inversions is definitely something that would be pretty crazy.
Next up, we're going down to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg with Big Bad Wolf.
Now, this was a big fan favorite among guests at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg.
Yeah, if your home park was Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, and you've been there for years, then you definitely rode this, and you were probably definitely upset whenever they tore this thing down.
Yeah, it got replaced with Verbolten, which is a really good coaster.
My second favorite at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg.
yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, but Big Bad Wolf was such a classic, and everybody just loved it. So definitely sad to see it go, and it would have been really cool to ride.
Next up, we are going back up into Pennsylvania to Waldameer, where another one of your favorite roller coasters, Ravine Flyer 2. This is going way, way back to Ravine Flyer 1.
Now, one of the biggest reasons that we would like to ride this so bad and wish we could have was because you really don't know much about it at all. There's not too much information about it. It's kind of mysterious. But it kind of had a similar layout as Ravine Flyer 2. It went over the road and all that. So it's just very mysterious, and a coaster that old with a layout like Ravine Flyer 2 would be pretty crazy. And that was taken out in the 30s or 40s, I'm pretty sure.
So we weren't even alive back then, so we couldn't have ridden it.
Yeah, It was a really long time ago. Probably the oldest one on the list, maybe. One of the oldest coasters.
There's a couple that will be older, and we will be getting to those coming up here shortly. But first, let's get to number 7, Dueling Dragons. This opened in 1999, when Universal Studios Orlando opened Islands of Adventure, and that has now been replaced with
Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure.
So Dueling Dragons was
a dueling B&M invert. It was known as Dragon Challenge for a little bit, so you might know it by that name. But a dueling B&M invert.
And there were times that you came so close where feet were I think as close as 18 inches apart or something like that.
Yeah, they were getting a little too close where people's loose articles were hitting other people or something like that. There were some little accidents like that. So it did get removed after a little bit, but people absolutely loved Dueling Dragons when it was open.
On to number 6, we are going back to the first roller coaster in the United States, Switchback Railway at Coney Island. Now, we've been to Coney Island and we rode Cyclone, so that's a great old Woody. But
not quite as old as Switchback Railway.
Yeah,
not many coasters came out before Switchback Railway,
and none in the United States.
It's very old.
So just the fact of saying that we could have ridden the very first roller coaster, we did ride the oldest operating roller coaster, Leap the Dips.
Yeah, but it is not the first coaster in the United States.
Yeah, so this just would have been cool. It would have been very nostalgic if you could, if it was still around and you could ride the first roller coaster.
This is what coasters this is what coasters started out as, and then you can compare it to modern days things. That would be crazy.
Next up, number 5, what we consider our second home park, Kings Island. We are talking about Son of Beasts. This thing was shut down and torn down for what is now the B&M Invert Banshee. So this was, I think, the first wooden roller coaster that had a vertical loop.
Yeah, and the only coaster that was ever, or wooden coaster that was ever built with a vertical loop.
Yeah, and it was made by
Coaster Corporation of America, which is a very, very cheap and not that good manufacturer. They still have a few coasters standing, like Bandit at Movie World Germany, and it's supposed to be an absolutely terrible ride.
And it was just an unsafe ride. People had back injuries, neck injuries, and it made it to the point where they just had to shut it down. And then Cedar Fair ended up just tearing it down because there was really nothing they could have done with it. If RMC was around back in that day,
would have been RMC'd.
Yeah, maybe. Probably would have been RMC'd. Who knows what would have happened. But unfortunately, it was just demolished. But riding it before it got shut down, just to say that you rode such an iconic roller coaster in the United States.
One of the craziest coasters ever built. It was absolutely huge. It was just ridiculous. And they still have the station and a tiny bit of the track still standing at Kings Island, actually, which you can see.
Yeah, if you walk back to the bat, you can see it there. Now, speaking of Bat, we are on to number 4. We are talking about Batman and Robin. See what I did there? Bat.
That was hilarious.
That was at, Six Flags Great Adventure?
Yeah,
or at least Great Adventure, maybe before Six Flags?
It was Six Flags Great Adventure. It was a premier dueling launch coaster, kind of similar to the Mr. Freeze clones, but like I said, it was dueling with a little bit of a different layout. One side was Batman, one side was Robin.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it was just a very unique coaster. Like I said, made by Premier. But it was just a very weird and cool coaster. Nothing like it. The closest thing, like I said, is Mr. Freeze, but even that is quite different. So Batman and Robin just looked crazy, and it looked really cool. Really wish they didn't get rid of it.
So on to number 3, sticking with another launch coaster. We're going down to King's Dominion, where they had Hypersonic XLC. This thing, when it was built in 2001 or early 2000s, whatever it was, this thing was insane. It had such a short little launch track, but you got up to 80 miles per hour, hit a top hat, hit a couple S curves.
It was an SNS.
And then it was done and over.
It was an extremely short ride, but it was an SNS air compressed launch coaster. So very intense launch. And it was just a big fail for King's Dominion because it was always closed and always broken down, as you may expect, because that was very early on SNS, and SNS improved their reliability now, didn't they?
I mean, look at all their coasters,
really.
Max Force, yeah.
But still, it was their, I'm pretty sure, first attempt at it, so it was something that nobody's ever seen before, and the closest thing now would probably be Dodonpa. It kind of has a similar train style, or Max Force is a more,
because the trains were just really weird looking.
Yeah, that's how Dodonpa
they looked like they were trying. They looked like something that was built in the 70s that was trying to look like something that was in the 2000s.
Yeah, they're trying to look futuristic and stuff, which is, like I said, kind of like what Dodonpa is at Fuji-Q. But yeah, Hypersonic XLC didn't have a very long life. But people who did ride it said it was really good, a very intense launch.
But now we're up to our last 2. What possibly could be our top 2? Before we get into our top 2, because you guys are dying to know this.
You're dying to know.
Why don't you guys, if any of you have ridden any of these so far, or in our top 2 or whatever, if any of you guys rode these, let us know down in the comments section that which ones you got to ride or
say
whatever.
What they were like, because I'll be
let us know. Let us know what you thought of it, and while you're down there, you can go down and subscribe. It helps the channel out tremendously. Give it a thumbs up, and if you want to be like one of these wonderful people right here, they joined our channel membership page. You can do that too. Go down the description. There's a link. Go to the channel membership page. There's one of 2 tiers. You get things like exclusive shout outs, exclusive videos. You get early content on some of our videos, pictures, stuff like that. So, and it helps us out tremendously. So it's a give and take relationship. So thank you to all our channel members. Now on to number 2. We are going to one of the most intense roller coasters.
Yeah, a coaster that was very ahead of its time, and one of, we were really debating if this should be number 1, but this is Crystal Beach Cyclone in Crystal Beach in Canada. Now, this is a coaster that existed, in the 40s, something like that.
Yeah,
but it was
quite, again, another roller coaster before we were even born, because surprisingly enough, I was not born in the 40s.
So, but yeah, this coaster was known for being one of the most intense coasters in the world, pulled 4 Gs or whatever. and it would have these like really wacky, like some parts of the track where it would just like shake like that and have like these little hills. It was really weird, and it would have turns similar to like Intimidator 305 turns or El Toro turns, and it was built, like we said, in like the 40s, so very ahead of its time. It was kind of dangerous. Multiple people, there were some accidents that happened with it, so it had to close.
Accidents happen, people.
So, but if you make it like modern day, obviously it would be a lot safer. But
yeah, someone needs to make a modern day Crystal Beach Cyclone. We need some coasters that hurt people. We don't have enough of those these days.
People have been waiting for like GCI to make something like that, but nothing. But yeah, Crystal Beach Cyclone, legendary coaster. Everyone, I mean, I would absolutely love to ride that.
And number one, we're going over to what, South Korea?
Yeah, Everland, South Korea.
For Eagle Fortress.
Yeah, Eagle Fortress is an aero suspended coaster like Big Bad Wolf. So we got two aero suspended coasters on here.
That's odd.
That is
I don't know. I mean, like, because we ride Iron Dragon and it's nothing special.
Yeah, I mean, aero suspended coasters really aren't known for being that great. This coaster, like I said, was in a park called Everland. It still exists. You may know it for having T-Express. What makes this different than other aero suspended coasters? Well, if you watch some like the POVs for it, you know how aero suspended coasters, they swing on the track. This one would go a lot faster than the other ones. It would go through the woods, and when it would swing, it would pretty much go like completely sideways.
It was borderline inversion.
It was pretty close to an inversion. It looked absolutely insane, but unfortunately they had to tear it down because it was too difficult to do maintenance on it because it was so wooded back there, so it's hard to get there. But it looked like one of the craziest, if not the craziest coaster in the world.
And that is why we have it at number one.
Yeah.
So that's our list, 10 through 1 defunct roller coasters that we would have really enjoyed to ride, but we never got a chance. So like I said, go down in the comments section, let us know, rode anything or whatever. And that is it for this video. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. All these videos out here on YouTube, there's hundreds and hundreds of videos all over YouTube.
I think there's a little bit more than 100.
Okay, well
there's 200.
Okay, but you chose our video to watch, so we appreciate that so much. But that's it. So thank you for watching us here at Beach Cliff Studios. See you guys.